Now, we have this human experience, and there are many people who are different types of human beings. Some have a lighter shade, some have a darker shade. Mine just so happens to be of a darker shade, and I absolutely love it. Yeah. Didn't always like being in this body. I had to grow to appreciate being in this body. Yeah. Especially in the 80s. And a lot of the reasons why I didn't feel good to be in this body didn't come from people who didn't look like me. It came from people who actually looked like me, which was very odd. And some of it was related to the way that I sound, the way that I speak, how I think. Perhaps I don't move a certain way that was a little different. And the question was, what kind of nigga are you? Or, some of you can relate to what I'm talking about, cast out over there, which you wouldn't think would happen when you're thinking about, okay, well, you look like me, so you should accept me. We look the same. So isn't that the way that it works? This is what I thought as a kid. But I saw that no, that's not always the case. And then my mother had to reinforce the idea of embracing the experience. Thank you, Mom. Embrace yourself was a big part of her teachings when I was a young kid. And then we move into the 90s. Spike Lee movies would kind of reinforce certain ideas. The hip hop that was coming out between 1988 and 1993 would reinforce some of those ideas. So there it is. I began to embrace the Black human experience. I said, okay, I'll work with this, especially in 93. Thank you, Nina. Shout out to you wherever you are. I really found an appreciation of it. I said, okay, yeah. So what I have does work. Okay, cool. All right. But then 1997, I started to meditate. So I'm 21 by that point. And I said, well, that's not where the buck stops. Yeah, because I do appreciate being in this body, but that's not where it stops. Technically, this experience is just one that I'm temporarily in. I'm in this body. It just so happens to, have some melanin, and there's benefits to having melanin. So, okay, I can embrace the package, but what about the energy that's inside of the package? Where does that go? What does that do? Where's the power in that? So when I began meditating, I began to connect more with that and let go of the physical properties. Yeah. Because I was already at a point where I embraced this fully, the physical package. Okay, cool, check. But then let's add some strength and power to the side that can only be seen by those who are further evolved in the human experience. Yeah, the stuff that's inside of the body, the stuff that you feel when I'm looking into you. Yeah. If you were to close your eyes, you would still feel it. Energy is everything. I have an episode on that. So letting go of the things that keep you locked into the physical experience, that became key for me, and that would change everything. It would change the way that I would react to certain things. It would change the way I feel about race, change the way I feel. It would change, excuse me, it would change everything that I feel about the human experience and everything I feel about the Black human experience. It would basically smooth out the edges. Doesn't take away from the knowledge of the atrocities and, certain struggles and certain dynamics. Wouldn't take away from the awareness of those things, but it would turn those into illusions, if you will. You know that certain things happen within this paradigm that I'm in, but wait a second. You can soften the blow, you can lessen it, right? You apply action to certain things that you do. You hold yourself accountable in certain things, and then you begin to create a new path. You begin to see different interactions. You change your perception of this. I don't know if you're still with me, but hopefully you are. That's the secret to change the narrative for yourself. You know what your power is beyond your package. And when you know what your power is beyond your package, then all of the things that you know of that have been told to you that hinder you based on your package, those things begin to minimize. They begin to shrink up. Yeah, because there's a power that you have that's beyond your package. Now, those who are not melanated as much can technically do the same thing. They just don't recognize it. And so what do? They hold on to what they fear. Anyway, I'm laying it out there because I find that this discussion, the struggles with race and this tug of war, racial tension, yada, 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 this thing that continues to go in a circle, I notice that it becomes a pattern. The same thing that's talked about here in 2021 is the same thing from 1992, the same thing from 1965, the same thing from 1955. It doesn't go away. And I feel that part of the reason why it hasn't gone away is because people are too attached to this, the physical. They're very attached to this. They don't want to let go of it. And they don't recognize the power beyond this because the energy that's contained in the body is far more powerful than the body itself. You're only using this to function down here on the earth. That's it. So why do you invest so much? Why is there such an emotional attachment to this body that you are using? You are borrowing this body. That's it. This is not where the buck stops at all. Do you remember? So those are the questions that come to my mind. And I'm glad that I let go of it early because then I began to see a different experience entirely. So I went through not enjoying the Black human experience to appreciating the Black human experience to an evolution of sorts where I didn't become pigeonholed in this physical experience, right? Because if I was to think about all of the things connected to the narrative of the Black human experience, if I was to think about all those things constantly, then there's a lot to be angry at. There's a lot to be upset about. It's not very enjoyable, is it? If you're constantly thinking about those things, right? And there's some people who wake up thinking about it. Their entire life is based on those things. You got to switch it up. You have to remember what's beyond flesh. You Christians should know what I'm talking about, or anyone who is connected to their faith should know what I speak of. Loving the world or living of the world is never a good thing anyway, because this is just a playpen that we're in. And you have all these different types of people playing in it with you. Or you could say it's like a movie and you're living the movie until the credits roll. So you want to do your best to reduce the stress, reduce the conflicts, although they will be there, the challenges, the adversity, of course, that shapes who you are and your character. But if there's a way to smooth out those edges a little bit, you can by remembering your power beyond the flesh. It's a simple thing for me. I don't complicate this idea. And I'm glad I caught it early. 21. And it really did smooth out the edges. So I'm just here to put this to you. Maybe it's something that you'll marinate on or think about. I don't know. Your power beyond your flesh. The conversations are always going to be there until people embrace the power beyond their flesh. So we'll still be having these racial discussions, skin discussions, dark versus light, colorism, all the isms. Those discussions will still be as long as people invest so much into something that is temporary. What is temporary? This. The more you invest, the less satisfied you are because it never ends. You're constantly chasing it. You need a hug. You need validation. Oh, I need to be accepted into this group here. Yeah, I need to be accepted into this group. No, you don't. No, you don't. You have everything that you need. You were born with everything that you need. Now, of course, you were told that you're not enough. You were told that you're incompetent, that you have all of these lacks. Yeah, that's what you were told because those others over there, they don't know the value of their power. They don't know the value beyond their flesh either. So then they tell you that you don't have anything. And, there it is. That's the human narrative, unfortunately, that we are sharing or that has been shared up to this point. But yeah, power beyond flesh. Do you remember it? Do you use it? Do you think about it? Or are you caught up in this? I mean, I love it. There's no hate here. Yeah. No, there's plenty of self-love here. I love this. And if God said, "Hey, you want to do it again?" I would say yes. Or maybe there's another experience that I'll have in the next round. I don't know. But one thing I do know is that when you are in alignment with the Most High, the things of the world become like this. You understand that this is just a human experience that I am having. And here we go. So let me learn. Let me apply what I learn. Let me create. Let me not be hindered by this or that. Let me hold myself accountable. Let me project an image of elevation everywhere I go. That's the idea. An image of elevation everywhere you go, because you know what your power is beyond your flesh. When you create elevation everywhere you go, the elevation returns to you. It returns. There's a saying, you attract more bees with honey than vinegar. That's the idea. There's that cliche of be the change that you want to see in the world. This is not a kumbaya talk. I'm just giving you some pieces based on my own experience. I love the Black human experience. It just so happens to be the experience that I'm in. And while I'm in this experience, I'm going to do everything that I can as an artist to create, build, share. That's what I'm going to do. And that is all. But this is not where the buck stops. I know my power beyond my flesh, and you should too. And perhaps if you think more to that, then all of these issues, these things that have been a part of the discussions, maybe those things will vaporize and you'll have a new paradigm. You'll be in a new plane, a new frequency. That would be amazing. You can change the human experience just like that. Have you tried it? Or are you locked in that micro thinking of, nope, it's this, and that's all it is? I don't know. But again, I'm just giving you my experience, and I've enjoyed it up to this point. I really have. It's good stuff.